What if the person you love the most is also the person most likely to trigger the parts of you that still need healing? Because relationships aren't just about connection, they're about exposure. Exposure to our patterns, our past, and the parts of ourselves we didn't even know were still running the show. And what if the tension, the conflict, even the fractures aren't signs that something's broken, but invitations to build something stronger than you ever thought possible? Enjoy the show. Welcome to Make It a Great One with Dr. Dan. This show is all about bringing hope, connection, awareness, and wisdom through meaningful conversations that inspire us to be better versions of ourselves and have a positive impact on humanity. This is your space to pause, reflect, and reconnect with who you are, what you care about, and who you want to be. We have this moment, this day, and this life. Let's make it a great one. Today, I have the privilege of speaking with Tarah and EJ Kerwin. EJ and Tarah are the founders of Relationship Renovation and hosts of the Relationship Renovation Podcast, where they blend raw honesty, humor, and decades of combined experience to help couples deepen intimacy and build emotional safety. Known for their vulnerability and real-life storytelling, they offer practical, research-backed tools rooted in attachment science and nervous system regulation. Together, they help partners break old patterns, rebuild trust, and create lasting, intentional connection. EJ and Tarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. I love your intro. It's just so beautiful and intentional. And of course, you would have that intro because you're awesome.
Thank you. And
You're welcome.
see, you're seeing me again, Tarah. You're just like seeing me, reflecting back to me. Everyone, we had a great experience. I was on their podcast about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. I don't know, it's been a little while, but not a little while at all. And we had a wonderful conversation, which I'm been looking forward to continuing today on the other side of the mic. And the first thing I thought of is, you know, that question that us therapists often get, which is something like either, what's it like to be married to a therapist, or what's it like to have a parent as a therapist? And here's my question for you guys. What's it like to be a couples therapist married to a couples therapist?
I mean, I think it's...
I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's part of like what has made us work and part of what we've brought to working with couples is it's raised the bar. That our expectations of ourselves and each other have been pretty high, you know, that, and not that we would be, you know, perfect, but that we would always be working. And so I think it's like, it hasn't been a burden.
No.
It's been hard at times though, because, you know, you sit next to a couple and you're talking about some skill or some level of awareness, and then you're internally thinking like, man, I blew that like 24 hours ago. For me, it raised my bar of like, I gotta go back and then work on that. I gotta hold myself accountable. So it's been good, but it's made us put in more effort.
Well, and two funny things. So I've been a marriage counselor for 22 years now. And EJ's been a LPC licensed professional counselor for what, like 15. And so when we first met, we were just, you know, we were both specializing in eating disorders. And I had like my couples on the side in my private practice. And when EJ and I got married, fell in love, and went through what we went through, and I was like, EJ, if two therapists are having this hard of a time with this transition, we transitioned to a blended family and a lot of different things. I said, we have to help our community. And EJ was like, I do not like working with couples. That is not my jam. And so EJ is a couples therapist because of me, I feel like. And I said, just wait. So that, and then also like, so we used to see probably 35 to 40 couples a week, just back to back. And EJ and I would see couples together. And there would be times where like we would get into an argument right before session. And I would be like, if we don't resolve this and have some type of like compassion for each other, I cannot be genuine and I have to be able to be genuine. So we were like EJ said, like compelled to do the work, even like in micro 15-minute increments before we would see another couple. Like we've really navigated that now, but like in the beginning, it was so
I'm
hard.
going to pull out some hardcore validation real quick.
I felt like I'm such an imposter, like imposter syndrome. Like we're just got into an argument and now we're seeing this couple and we suck. But I know we're just human. And so I think
You're
that's
real.
why people,
Yeah,
yes,
you're
we're
real. And that, I mean, that is part of your magic sauce,
Yeah.
because you guys put yourself out there. And, you know, I was listening to some of your podcasts this week, and I was also doing some ethics training for continuing professional development that we have to do every few years. And one of the topics was digital ethics. And I was thinking about where the field started and where the field has come, and still the sort of the disagreements in the field. You know, most of us were trained, people of our years in life, more or less, we're trained to really keep our stuff to ourselves, you know, not share, keep it all about the client. And then as life went on, for many of us, we realized like we are part of this relationship, and sharing when thoughtful and intentional for the client's experience, right? Based on the client, it could actually be such a powerful process.
Mm.
And in the literature I was reading, it was still varied. And then I'm listening to you guys just fully, yeah, we were feeling like roommates. So we're just going to talk about roommates. And then when you came home, it's like real time, real relationship. And isn't that what people want?
I'm not going to cry because I just cry a lot, but we had a coaching session last night with one of our couples, and the male partner started crying, and he was like, "Thank you." We had a very raw episode on like a financial thing that happened for us a few months ago, and we were just so raw. I didn't even know if we were going to release that episode. Well, last night he was like, "Thank you. That episode made me feel so normal. Like if two therapists are like," and he just started crying, and I was like, and we've heard from a few people now, like, thank you. But I was really scared, Dan, because of right, the ethics piece. And I was like, you know, we didn't have it scripted or anything. It was very raw. And I was so nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, some therapists are going to listen to this and be like, right? Like we're trained to like not give up information about ourselves. And here it is. But what we found is the people who are in our little circle, who love us, who connect with us, love that raw vulnerability. But it is very scary at times to put our stuff out there.
Well, I mean, I think there's definitely a different filter in a session. I mean, it's 100% different versus a session versus a podcast episode. I mean, I think that, you know, setting matters, you know. But I think one of the biggest things is it really addresses this idea of how suffering isolates, and none of us know what's going on behind anyone else's door. And most of the time when individuals come to see that that they're not uniquely broken, that the things that they're struggling with, we're struggling with, others are struggling with, there's a sense of relief. But then also like the suffering constricts. And when they find that out, it all of a sudden creates space. Because it's like, oh, okay, there's somewhere to move because other people are feeling what we feel. Mm-hmm. Other people are struggling the way we feel. And we found it's just been an incredibly powerful tool in supporting people.
And for us too, the podcast has been like our own therapy. Been our own therapy. We've like, if you listen to our episode in 2018 to an episode now, like we've just grown so much. We built so much emotional safety throughout. And so it's kind of this cool modeling experience too. Like we just never gave up. We never gave up. And that's what we tell our couples. Like, even if you're not, you know, destined to be together and you guys do all the work and you find like maybe it's not a good fit, but like doing that work and getting to a place of clarity for yourself and not giving up on yourself, right? It's like a beautiful thing. It's that when you did your introduction, that hope, like conversations that instill hope and help you thrive to become the best person you can be. Like that's what our podcast means to us, because it's like the one space where we have to just be completely right. There's no clients here, and
Together.
yeah,
Right. There's no clients there,
yeah,
and yet you are teaching to the universe, whomever is listening, your global audience. And it's courageous is the word I was thinking of, is courageous as you put yourself out there.
Mhm.
And it's also courageous, as we know, to work on our relationships, because it's not easy. And to work on a relationship means you are working on yourselves. It means you're being vulnerable. It means you might be becoming aware of and or saying things out loud that you have never said before, or you don't want anyone to know, because it's this thing that you're protecting, usually from a wound, right, or a trauma. And I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about courage, about like just really what it takes in some of these situations where things just build up over time. I heard you talking recently about implicit versus explicit. I mean, there's so many different agreements, non-agreements, that build over time. And where do you find people start with the courage to just work on it?
I mean, I think that there's a direct relationship between courage and trust, especially in this, in this setting. I think that oftentimes people come to therapy or coaching uh, just because they're in such acute suffering. Like they don't even know where the process is going. They just know they need help. And then when they sit down with, in this case with Tarah and I, they begin to trust in us, and they trust in the process that we're taking them into. And from there, they begin to develop courage to discover things that maybe they don't even know, or to connect dots. We create insight, and then suddenly they're sort of organically walking into uncharted territory. And and then if we can support on the opposite side the other member of the couple, if we can coach them through how to be supportive in that space, how to manage their own nervous system, how to not be instinctively reactive, then it just starts to happen. And they have that felt experience of like, I can actually open up in front of this person who I've learned to guard myself against, defend myself against, this person I love. And they're empathetic, they're caring, they're loving, they're not weaponizing what I'm doing. And then it gets easier to be courageous, because it's still hard. It's still hard to find. I know in our work together, like we've both faced, big, big obstacles inside ourselves. And it's hard enough to do it within myself. But then if Tarah is creating obstacles for me to do it, it's even harder. But when she does, then it's like, oh my gosh, like, wow, you love me.
Mm-hmm.
You love, that whole differentiation thing. You love what the things I'm proud of, and you love the things I'm not proud of.
I also think there's something to be said about like we're like the hope holders when couples come in, because they're usually pretty hopeless, feel powerless, feel like this is it. If this doesn't work, we're done. So we ourselves, we train all of our staff. We're like the warm, fuzzy blankets. Like couples come in and they are just so injured and they feel like they're broken. And I think having that dose of hope, like, oh my gosh, of course we've worked with couples like this before. Of course, you guys are uniquely different, but like, yes, we see infidelity couples all the time. And yes, we've worked with so much substance abuse. I mean, you name it. And I think having that like person that like, you can see it like coming from me. I'm like such a holder of hope. And I feel like just that, because they're already coming in with a place of like shame, or I'm going to be judged and what are they going to think about our situation. Like really having that space where, like, again, whether you end up staying together or not, like, we've got you. Like, we have 12 therapists with us now, and we are just like their little warm, fuzzy blankets. And it's all okay. We've got you no matter what that looks like. And yes, it is a ride. We're not going to lie. It's not this like linear process where you just come in and it's going to be like, woohoo. It's like the hardest thing in the world, but what we know is there's freedom at the end of it. Like, you don't have to suffer and feel so stuck in whatever you're stuck in right now. And feel just like the language, body language, and the energy that we bring is that matches. It helps people become more vulnerable, which to me is courageous.
A theme that's been coming up in the last few conversations is unconditional positive regard, said in a more formal Rogerian sort of way. And it's what you're describing. And it's interesting because you guys have lots of tools, which we'll get to. And there are lots of tools that are out there. And there's more and more tools readily available for little to no cost as our technology world expands. And that's wonderful. I mean, getting to help getting and resources getting to more people for less, I think is excellent for humanity. And there are lots of situations where that space, that guide, those guides, and that unconditional positive regard, that feeling that you matter no matter what, I'll care for you no matter what you say, I will accept you no matter what you say. You can put it all out here on the table, and I'm here for it. So much of the healing happens in what you're describing.
Yeah, I already feel so safe with you. And I did when you were a guest on us, but just hearing that, it's like you melt into like, how often are we seen in that way? And given permission to be completely whoever it is we need to be without judgment? Thank you. Yes. I'll take more of that, please. And then especially with our partner, right? Because we kind of describe like, like the freedom to give and receive love freely. Like, we often don't have that in relationships, whether that's with our parents, with our friends, but the intimate relationship is a unique one. So when you can get to that place where you can give and receive love freely, like, you can do anything. Like, life is already stressful enough, and we hear this, like, I would rather be alone than feel this lonely in my relationship. And it's like, when you start to really develop that emotional safety between the two of you and that unconditional positive regard, it's like, yes, the world is stressful and our life can feel like unmanageable at times, but now we've got this together. We're not alone in it. But I think that's what happens with couples too, or who are in a lot of suffering. It's like, it's already stressful, right? Maybe they have new kids, or they're new parents, or they feel like roommates, whatever it is. And then when they're disconnected, that just adds like the biggest layer ever. Like, I don't have support with the one person I thought I could have support with my entire life. Like, now that's gone. There's like a whole other sense of like failure and rupture.
Well, and it seems like where things go from unconditional this is what we're seeking. We want to give this to our kids, right? Our goal is to accept them and to give them this unconditional love and positive regard. And what you're describing is when things become conditional, right?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because it's almost like it's like a Venn diagram or a layer within a layer, because you want to create an atmosphere of unconditional positive regard, right, within your relationship. But there's definitely conditions. There are agreements, but if you don't have that overall, I mean, what I've found just is that as we've gone through everything we've gone together and we've worked on things and we've understood ourselves more deeply and then shared in that, is that we've become much more tolerant to the moments when one of us doesn't show up in a great way.
Yeah.
And it's almost like that's the unconditional part, is that like you can struggle. You can say this in a yucky way. You can
get it wrong.
You can get it wrong. You can occasionally be, really snippy or unfocused or whatever. And that's okay because we have something to resource.
Yeah.
I have trust that Tarah will, that she'll come around. And I think that I've, built that trust with Tarah as well. But that's what's hard is when couples come in, that has been fractured. That's like, we talked the other day in a podcast about like sort of there's conflict is natural, but when it goes repeatedly unresolved, it becomes fracture. And that's when there's big problems, because then there's a compromise, then there's a way for sort of it to metastasize, for bacteria to get in and for it to get infected. And then that's our goal is we go in there and help people clean those wounds up, and turn them into strong scars, that are impenetrable.
Have you, you guys are familiar with, it's a semi-older film now, Hope Springs, with Tommy Lee Jones and Meryl Streep?
Oh, I remember it from long ago.
Yes, okay.
Baby.
So this is something, it came up. This is why I'm saying it, because it came up in a recent coaching session. And what you just said, EJ, really reminded me of this. So, superstar cast for the couple, and then Steve Carell is the therapist.
I remember
Yeah,
everything now.
yeah.
I remember the ending.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. I forgot about that movie.
And so it's something
good.
I found myself spontaneously remembering it and referencing it in the midst of a coaching session, and suggesting this client watch it. And because what you just talked about, EJ, with the it becomes a fracture. And I'm looping it back now to Tarah, what you said about hope. Because in this story, it's so painful to watch this couple and where this couple has gotten to, and it doesn't seem that they can find their way back. And as many people feel, like, how can we find our way back? And you can, right? It's so, as we're talking about, it doesn't always the happy ending doesn't always look like maybe what everyone wants. There can be freedom on the other side, but there's so much possibility when one engages in the process, and possibility beyond probably what most walk into the room thinking is possible.
Absolutely.
I think some of the strongest relationships and like therapeutically I've seen have come out of some of the most complicated issues coming in, because the people were forced to do deep rebuilds of themselves and their relationship. It was like, and it's literally like Phoenix rising from the ashes of like, this got burnt to the ground. Like there is no remodel. There's no smoke repair. Like we have to go back to the foundation and fix that and then rebuild this whole thing. But when they do, and they're dedicated to it, and then they find this slow rekindling of connection and trust, it's amazing, because you have all of the lessons of the past. You have all of the old ways that you see how they lined up from their attachment history, and you see where it got misaligned, and you can use that as a sort of map to like, let's build this let's build this structure solid. Like let's redo this whole damn thing. And it's amazing. And there's one couple in particular I'm thinking of like, they are rock solid, and man, they went to hell and back.
And what's really cool is like, I think we have like maybe more than a dozen. Like some of these couples are compelled to share their story in our podcast. And like people around the world will like email us like, can I reach out to so-and-so? Like, I feel like they're such a mentor, and like for them to share their story. And of course, like you have to get permission, everything like that. But like some of these couples are so compelled. Like I'm working with this one couple, like, I mean, I can't say worst infidelity case, but it's just really bad. Like, and they were like, Tarah, we want to share our story. I mean, they've been working through this for 5 years, Doctor. 5
Wow.
years. weekly for 5 years. They are like the most incredible, resilient. And they're like, we want to share our story because we know if we can get through this. And I'm like, that's what inspires others. Like that these couples are so brave to be on our podcast and the YouTube channel and whatever. And they're like, we want to do this. We want to help other couples know that there is a freaking way, but it takes work. And they're very honest about that. But they get to share their story from like old story where they were at to doing the work to what that has, what the outcome of it, which is freedom and love and a deeper sense of intimacy and connection that they ever thought possible. Like I'm so grateful to those couples who share their story. It's like, thank you.
And what an affirming way to step forward as part of their healing and part of them their serving and just owning. Yeah, that's really special.
I think we've cried on like every single couple we've interviewed. I know I have. That's just me.
I can understand that. We're talking about opportunities. You both were talking about like the opportunities, like something literally or figuratively is burned to the ground. And, often think of the Viktor Frankl quotes that's just about, it's how you look at things. Like the life or death can be what our perspective is about a current situation. And like acknowledging how hard tragedy hits and how hard different seasons of emotions can hit. And we do reel, that's the human response, but it's how can we get our footing and sort of lean into this and try to use it as an opportunity for something new and something different, not knowing what can be on the other side.
I mean, I think it's hard because I don't know if couples or people can really come to that real perspective until they've started just to naturally embody it through the practice, and through the process. I mean, because literally they're in different trauma states, when they enter into it, and a lot of times with infidelity, I'll use like the metaphor or whatever of like it's like you got sideswiped, and what do? It's like first thing you do is you're like, what happened? Where am I? Who did it come from? Am I okay? Like, where's the other person? Are there cops coming? It's like you're so disoriented by your own suffering and how your life has just got, turned upside down, that there's this whole process of stabilization that has to happen and orienting yourself. And that mindset then of like, okay, actually this is something incredible is gonna come from this. It takes a second,
a few seconds, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great analogy. That is analogy. There we go. That one he's the analogy guy. I think that is a great analogy. And it definitely takes time. And I feel in my experience with couples work, right, there's different scenarios. There's often like I'm gonna use the person who's seen at fault because of an action, a very clear action, which that's where the attention goes. Or it's diffuse and it's just diffuse and you're trying to figure out what is going on here, death by 1,000 paper cuts, perhaps. And it's coming to this, it's trying to figure out how to support the people who are in front of you who are in so much discomfort and so much pain. And in some cases numb, in some other cases just so angry. And it is through the process, like you're saying, that over time, if they can stick through it and then start to open up and see these other ways that they could feel, that they can be, that they can communicate, it is amazing that people do they're grateful for things that they were not grateful for. I'm saying that very loosely and generally, and wondering if you guys have shared that same experience.
I mean, yes, yeah, absolutely. That they, it's at a certain point look at it of like as like, oh my gosh, thank goodness we entered into this process. Thank goodness we finally got to a point where we actually asked for help. I mean, one of the things as a, you know, as a coach, as a clinician is, you know, we have like our model that we take people through, and it very quickly gets into their genogram, like their basically family history, and then their timeline of their life from when they're born to when they meet their partner. And what we find is that helps shift the focus a little bit, but it's so important because it's like both people sort of going back to like the genesis, the seed that each of them were as they entered the world, and then how they met, and how so much of what they're struggling with is based upon that foundation that was built 0 to, you know, they met at 16, 18, 25, 45, whatever it was, is they've isolated their blame to each other. And then we shift it from blame to understanding of like, oh, of course you acted that way.
That makes sense.
Of course, that was your adaptation. Like, why in the world would we have ever thought that you would have done it any other way than other than the way you did it? You know, and that's when they become really kind of into that. Thank goodness I'm here and I understand this now, because I didn't get that. Didn't you know? A lot of these couples didn't even know that this whole like avoidant, anxious, you know, that even was that it was something. You know.
Well, and I'm thinking about, right, because EJ and I have been together for 15 plus years, right? Oh my gosh! Like, I hope I got that right.
Going on 30 with the work that you guys.
But so we went through this really, really difficult season, just like in October, November, whenever it was, and I'm just like in the middle of it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is happening. Like I was feeling so powerless, but we had been feeling so good, and now I recognize, because I always call EJ my blind spot. Like I had no idea I still had so much growth to do in that area, because yes, that was October, November. We are like, I thought we were really strong, Dr. Dan. Like we're even stronger now from that awful valley or an uncomfortable season, because I realized there was still so much more in me that I didn't realize was there that I could work on, like my financial scarcity and all these other things that I thought like we're just fine. Like I've done enough therapy now. And so that's the cool thing. Like when you build that, I guess I'm going to call it secure attachment. It's not like things just awesome. Like life is great now. We still have all of our stuff, but there's no threat to the relationship. And I keep growing as an individual and then within our system. And so that's the beauty. Like you get through the hard work, and then you kind of build this like new belief, like I can handle whatever this is. I got this, even if it's like the most scariest thing in the world. And we were facing some scary circumstances. And somehow, because of the work we've done, like I can handle this. We've got this. We're going to be okay. And then it shifted so quickly because of that trust. I guess you build that trust with each other. Usually there's a lot of mistrust and a lot of grief. Couples wouldn't identify it as grief. And when I say that word, it's like grief that, right, you thought what it was going to be and what it wasn't, and whether it was betrayal, you never know. But like both people are grieving in very different ways, and it looks different. And when you say the word grief, it's like, oh, we can be in that together, even though it looks really different. You know, just finding common language to help them have a shared emotional experience. Don't therapists love that word?
Yes. Yes. You're making me think of the continuum of independence on the one side, dependence on the other side, and in the middle, interdependence.
Yeah.
And what I got from what you were saying is, through the work that you guys have done to the trust, the security, you can still have difficult individual times and grow as an individual, see where your blind spots are, see where your triggers are. But ideally, it's based in the trust, the security, the interdependence of the relationship, which is the container by which to experience the peaks and valleys of life.
Yeah.
And that you also made me think of a Dalai Lama quote, which is that we can be okay even if our life situation is not okay. And so we can have financial stress, valid financial stress,
Yeah.
and yet still be okay personally, but also especially if we could be okay in our partner, in that relationship. Like we've got each other through this difficult circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's sort of the pot of gold, right? Is that everything feels more manageable when Tara and I feel connected. That even really difficult times are just a click or two more manageable. But if we're fractured, then those times become exponentially more uncomfortable. Because then it's like then we're like in this bond, in this contract, whatever it is, and we're not working together. Where if anything, we're like linked by this rope, and we're pulling each other apart and creating more and more tension, trying to get through a maze of it's just like it's so complicated when that's why we talked to couples a lot about normalized transitions, man. Like, be aware of transitions. Transitions are when couples get really destabilized because it highlights how connected or disconnected you are, right? So it makes sense that you're going through retirement and you're having troubles you guys haven't had in 10 years. Yeah. It makes sense that after you had your kid. Makes sense when you lost your job or had to move towns. It's like those transitional periods, they intensify fractures.
Mm-hmm. And why don't we get this training as people? I was like, this is the second thing I was thinking.
Well, we do get training. We get training from our parents.
There we go.
And and it's unfortunate because they're human beings too. And I'm sure our kids are going to have their own attachment wounds.
Right.
As much as we've worked, is like our training is what we witness and experience 0 to 10.
Totally. I was thinking earlier when you guys were talking is, wow, like if every partnership could come with pre-partnership counseling, right? When you were talking about, oh, well, this makes sense that you would do this because I know that you went through this and that makes you do this, which makes me do this, right? Like that would be amazing.
Yeah. Or like a Neuralink download.
There we go. Well, that's
that we just get our partners' history.
I think you're onto something. That could come into
Let's create that app together, you guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Nobody can take it.
Oh man.
I know. Well, that's the thing though, Dr. Dan, because when we first started our counseling center in 2016, I was like, EJ, let's do a little thing called When Sparks Fly, like premarital or newly committed couples, crickets. Why? Because people wait for a crisis to happen. I had the cutest room. We had the cutest programming. Crickets.
Oh, I totally get that.
Because, we just wait. And so it would be so great if we could just
idea. That's a great
have
idea.
all that information. Like when I'm watching reality TV shows like Love is Blind, I'm like, why can't they all do individual genograms and timelines before why can't they do that? They've got it, because then it turns into a shit show once they move in together and because all their stuff comes out.
Totally.
But again, we have in our, I'm so grateful just for EJ because I would never have been able to develop into who I am today because he's been my greatest teacher. And right in our lobby, we have our partners, our greatest teacher, be patient for the lesson, lessons. Because and that's the thing, a lot of people see this other person as the source of their suffering. And I did see that with EJ, but I was also like, but why am I so triggered? Like, that's my stuff. And so if you're willing to like learn more about yourself with this person who's triggering you, I mean, like you become your best version of yourself together through each other. But it's just really
takes I've definitely switched. Somebody
takes
we
two
interviewed
therapists. Is that what you're going to say?
No. Somebody we used to say it takes a lot of work. It's work, and then somebody sort of shifted it for us, and they said it takes effort.
I like that. Yeah,
it takes effort. You
does.
have to exert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Tarah, what you just hit at, I think for all of us to think about is when someone pisses us off, it's a reflection of us. Yeah. And it's something in us. Now, to be fair, some people we might find annoying for reasons A, B, or C, but why do they not annoy that other person? And why does different people annoy that person that doesn't annoy you? It's because we have to look inward. And sometimes that is so hard and painful to do, depending on who that individual might be in your life.
Yeah, I know. I'm working through that with my 12-year-old daughter right now. No, I'm not joking.
That's transitional. That's transitional.
Yes.
Well, and what is it about our, whatever neurobiology that draws us to a person who's going to trigger our attachment wounds?
Mm-hmm.
Like there must be like some design there, right? Like
differentiation.
Yeah, that it must be some high level, evolutionary biology going about like we are sort of built also to evolve through our human relations. Now that we don't, at least we're lucky enough to not have to scavenger for food and hide from bears. Now we get to concentrate on relationships. And that's why we love the work, is because it is rewarding and fascinating. Like how all these different people meld together into
every day is
a beautiful mess.
Beautiful mess. That's the relationship from what you're saying is responsible for, creates the opportunity to evolve, right? Because it's hard to evolve by ourselves. It's usually in response to a long-term interaction or relationship that we are like we're pressure tested to have the opportunity to evolve as individuals.
Yeah. Same way our skin pigment would change depending on the climate we're in. Same thing relationally.
Mm-hmm.
We're exposed to certain stimulus that then creates the opportunity for us to either adapt or stay stuck. And if we stay stuck, I mean, there's we definitely are healthier if we are healthy in our relationship. It's better for us to be happy and interconnected and interdependent than it is for us to be in a relationship that's cold and unloving and non-supportive.
Yeah, who's going to disagree with that, people? Right?
Exactly. How can you?
But it really is aspirational, right? When we look at, and I know people partner and couple and uncouple in lots of different ways. When we look at the traditional way, the divorce rate has not really changed much over, you're right, like half. Pretty steady. So there's probably lots of things that go into that. Let's get back to the hope, which is the hope. Well, I'll ask each of you, what is your hope for couples, people in their relationship?
My hope is that, and this is what I say, right? Because we always do consultations, before we, if the couple's like ready to do that kind of work, or maybe they need some more individual first, but it's like, okay, right now you're in this place of suffering and we lack clarity, right? Our nervous system lacks clarity during a place of suffering. And although this is very uncomfortable, like, are you willing to go through through this process so you can gain clarity so that you can make a decision based on that versus fear. And then you get to be that model for your children, right? A lot of couples who have the kids, like we've just seen awful situations where the kids get in the middle of these toxic, contemptuous, angry, hostile. And it's like, even go through this process to gain clarity for yourself, right? Go through the 6 months of whatever that might look like, or with each other, because then you can, like, we just did an uncoupling and it was like the greatest experience ever. Like, they were so toxic together. And and we were like, how do we move forward? Like, we don't know if we can. And like, it just took one person, like, I can't do this anymore. And they are like so good right now because all of that tension went away, but they went and they did the work, and then they got to have clarity, and maybe one person wasn't completely like, yeah, I'm done too. But like the other person was like, I don't have the capacity for this anymore, but I'm so thankful for this. And it could have ended up the entire other way. Like, I think about, like, that took a lot of courage to go through this, and didn't have what the other partner wanted was to stay together, but they have a mutual respect and their children get to see that. To me, that is like, make your choice out of clarity, not fear. Because if I had my 2 cents and I wasn't a therapist and I wasn't compelled to do all of this work, I would have been like, see ya, EJ. I remember driving in my minivan with the colicky twins, like, I'm out of here, dude. I did not sign up for this. I am out. And then I was like, oh God, I'm a therapist. I got to like learn from this. What's happening? Like, I was compelled to do it. But I'm so glad, right, that I did. So to have that clarity, I guess, make a decision out of clarity. Sorry if that was long-winded.
There you go.
My hope is that people see the value and the empowerment that comes up with holding up a mirror instead of pointing a finger. Is that in all those moments, if you can instinctually grab the mirror, look directly inward, that there's a lot of empowerment that comes with that versus something that's incredibly disempowering, which is just trying to change the other person.
Oh, but we try. It'd be so much easier.
I still do.
Just change. Yeah.
Tarah, just give me the attention I need when I need it without me asking for it.
There you go. We didn't even get it. We didn't even get into the implicit agreements versus the explicit agreements. So everyone, you're going to have to go check out their podcast, because there is an episode not that long ago about that. You guys, you have so much that you're putting out there, and putting it out there authentically, which I have so much respect for, and totally agree with you. It inspires people to take the steps to realize they're not alone, that people who are experts in a field still have the same challenges that other people have who aren't experts in that field. I mean, this is as human as it gets. Yeah. And so you guys are the real guides, real guides in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dan. Thank you for all the work you do, and just love your energy. And if we need couples counseling and coaching, you're going to be our person.
Oh, I'm there for you. I'm there for you. And I appreciate it. The feeling's mutual. You guys, before we end, you have, I want to tell everyone where to find what you're offering. You have your online global community. Of course, you have your podcast, and you have your Relationship Renovation at Home course. That is one of the things you alluded to. Tell everyone where they can find all of this information.
The easiest place to go is just right to our website, relationshiprenovation.com, has a link to our YouTube, to our podcast, to global coaching. Also, I have a men's group as well.
Men who do the work.
Men who do the work.
I love the name of that. I just love it. Yeah, that's the easiest, just our website. We've got all of our stuff on there.
They do. I've been there. Thanks, guys. Keep doing it.
Thank you.
EJ and Tarah are living it out loud with us in real time. They're guiding their clients through the work, and they're doing the work themselves while talking about it. Here are 5 key takeaways from our conversation. Number 1, conflict isn't the problem. Unresolved conflict is. Left unattended, it turns into fracture. Addressed with intention, it becomes growth. Number 2, courage in relationships is built through trust. The safer we feel, the more willing we are to show up honestly. Number 3, your partner isn't the problem, they're the mirror. What triggers you often reveals what's unresolved within you. Number 4, clarity, not fear, should guide your decisions. Whether you stay or separate, doing the work gives you freedom, either way. And number 5, emotional safety changes everything. When you feel secure in the relationship, even life's hardest moments become more manageable. There it is. We all live in relationship. Relationships take work. Relationships are about ourselves and our connection with our partners and our loved ones. We are interested in what you think about this episode, so please feel free to leave us a comment at Dr. Dan Peters on Instagram or reply to any of our social posts. Please share this with anyone and everyone you think will benefit. Thank you for being a part of our amazing community and bringing your people to us. Your 5-star reviews really do make a difference. As always, we have this moment, this day, and this life. Let's make it a great one. This has been a Peters and Rossi production. Make It a Great One with Dr. Dan is produced by Laura Rossi. Our engineer is Phil Rossi. Theme music is Uplifting Folk by Awesome Music. Artwork by Kelly Dwyer. Follow us on social media at Dr. Dan Peters. For more information, visit drdanpeters.com.